Yes, hello and welcome to Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast that celebrates the fact that there are Celtic fans all over this great big planet. From, wait for it, Banbridge to Berlin, Sauchiehall Street to Sydney. It just gets easier every week, doesn't it? Hello, Stephen in Sydney.
Hello, Gav. Yeah, that was good. Sauchiehall's probably a street rather than a place, so isn't it? So maybe doesn't work quite as well as it did in your head.
Though.
Yeah, Saltcoats would have been better, but never mind.
Saltcoats would have been better. Brian, you were helping me out with that. You didn't jump in with Saltcoats before we went live.
I know. I don't like to criticise you, Gav. You know.
Oh, of course.
I like to do that just on the show, not prior to it.
Very good.
My good lady wife is from Saltcoats. She would appreciate the mention.
Great
Just,
place.
Down the road or up the road from where you're from, Stephen?
Just a few miles up the road.
Just a few
miles away.
Fancy. What are the chances of you meeting your soulmate just a few miles away? Yeah, Lady Luck was shining on you, Stephen.
Love's young dream, isn't it?
Love's young dream.
I mean, I had to travel the world and, go through, acres of options until I finally found mine.
Go through what?
Before they said yes.
A lot of options to find my soulmate. Anyway, speaking of soulmates, how are all our soulmates in the chat? Monty, getting straight to the nub of the issue. Monty likes to go straight to the nub. That's the kind of thing he would say. David Clarkson, our very own David. Hail, hail, morning all. Hail, hail, fellow Fenians, says Sack the Board. Or I could equally say, that sounds like it's got the username and the message mixed up. Could be fellow Fenian saying Sack the Board, but everyone's in on it. There's Monty talking through the dramatis personae. Brian, do you want to defend yourself?
Yeah, Monty never forgets. Fair play to him. Brian Alberts, yeah, made the mistake once, and that's all it takes is saying I had a small admiration for an ex-Rangers player. And Monty never forgets. I know. Fair play to him, though.
Okay, I turn my mic up a wee bit, Pete McGee. Hopefully I'll bring it closer as well. Hopefully that is all in order. All right, lads, so what are we talking about? Well, let me see. Well, we're going to talk about the game, obviously. The most recent game, a little bit about around the game. We'll touch on the new manager search and how that's going, or where we think that's going, if anywhere at all. And then a little bit of Celtic socials, which I haven't lined up, but I have them in my WhatsApp, so I might have to subtly work on that while we're in the middle of the conversation. So if I tune out a bit like Martin O'Neill, Stephen, and I look like I'm deep in thought, what was that you said? You'll know what happened. What happened? There's Monty telling you to catch yourself on, Brian. Dear.
I wonder how I can ever be forgiven. What do I need to do to prove myself to Monty?
Don't think it's possible.
No.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit around the game before we get on with it. How about this? This is, you see a lot of this on social media. Well, there's tweets from various angles of this, but yes, a minute's silence. It was cut short at the start of the game. It was unobserved, it's fair to say, by a number in the fan base. Who wants to tackle this thorny issue, Stephen?
Like at this time of the year, it's a no-win situation for Celtic and Celtic fans. If you have half a brain, you'll understand why a lot of Celtic fans refuse to take part in this, charade that comes round every year. And it does come round every year now, and it's getting worse and worse as the country lurches to the right. The poppy police are more and more out in force. And I just think the club just has to hold their nose and let it pass. And it will pass. You'll get some angry tweets from Mr. Angry in Birmingham about how terrible arseholes the Celtic support are and how disgraceful it is. But anybody who knows anything about their history will know, and I'm not going to lecture you two guys about the history of the British Armed Forces in the 6 counties, but it's certainly off the back of recent events with Soldier F being acquitted of murder from the Bloody Sunday atrocities. There are so many people within the Celtic support for whom it's a very emotive subject. And I think the fact that they try and have a minute's silence at a Celtic game is probably just to goad the Celtic fans into a reaction. And for me, I'm a man of 56 years old. I would probably just stand and keep my mouth shut. I don't mind the idea of turning your back on the pitch, but I probably wouldn't shout anything out. But 18-year-old Stephen might have took a different stance on that. So I understand the people who just want to be vocal in their opposition to this. And as I say, I think we just have to hold our nose till it blows over.
Yeah, I mean, it is a flashpoint every time. It's the club that are deciding to do it. So is that what you're saying? You think the club do it so that a certain section of the fans quotes misbehave and then they can, take action against them another time?
To be fair, I think there's pressure on the club to do it, but if it is the club that's deciding to do it, then they should resist it. Just the way they resisted the attempts for us to have a poppy on our strip, which we did do, I think, for 1 year. And I noticed almost every other team in the league is wearing poppies, and they seem to be getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. I think the days of a team of completely poppy-coloured strips are just round the corner, and I don't know how you'll be able to discern one team from the other. But as I say, it's just getting more and more ridiculous, and the idea that it's got anything to do with remembering the fallen is getting more and more absurd as the years gone by. It's just a display of nationalistic tub thumping, and look at me, I'm more British than you. So for me, I just I can't be bothered with it at all. I noticed some of the Australian rugby teams are starting to do it here and plaster poppies all over the strips. And now, for me, the history and the reasons why it doesn't go down well at Celtic Park are very clear. And if the club are insisting on doing this, then that's just probably another minus mark on their report. And nothing surprises you anymore.
It's just annoying. And leaving this issue aside, any scenario where you're sort of told how to behave and what to do, and it removes individual choice from it is annoying to me. And in the context of football especially, I was telling my son, this is totally not related, but I was telling my son about when I was at a Tottenham game once, and I was there with a bunch of Tottenham fans years ago, and they all started singing "Stand Up If You Hit the Scum," like Arsenal, and I was sitting down quite comfortable, and I was like, and they all started standing up. Stand up if you hate the scum. And I was like, I don't particularly hate the scum. I mean, I don't particularly hate Arsenal. Like, yeah, but you have to stand up. Everyone else is standing up. Stand up, Gav. And I find myself reluctantly getting to my feet, as if to, just to join in the group think. And it was annoying to me that, that pressure was exerted. Of course, it's not the same issue, but, it's the same sort of feeling of kind of being coerced into doing something that you don't particularly want to do.
Everywhere Tesco, sorry, Stephen, you're walking in, no matter where you go, you're walking in and they're right front and centre, shaking the wee baskets. And I just say to the guy, sorry, I'm anti-war. Would love to donate, but I know
I glorify the military-industrial complex.
How can killing
reasonable attitude?
How can killing 5-6 million people bring about peace? I don't understand dialogue, but it's just people run their opinions down their throat, and not for me. I just move on. Patriot Day and all this nonsense. No. Anyway,
Yeah,
back to
we're
football.
here.
And at the
Exactly, we're here for the football.
at the end of the day, though, just one final point. I mean, if you go back a couple of, not 2 or 3 weeks ago, when there was a lot of outcry about Celtic fans displaying Palestine flags, and the sort of the word on the streets at that point was that politics should be kept out of football.
Yeah.
And that's fine if that's what you want to do, but this type of politics is taking over football, and also the Ukraine conflict. If you want to talk about that, that's okay. That type of politics is allowed in football. Poppy fascism or whatever you want is allowed in football, but Palestine flags aren't. So they want to pick and choose what type of politics they can allow in football matches, and it's just it's not right for me.
And isn't Poppy Scottish for money? It is in your man's books, all the books from Edinburgh about the spoon burners. You bit of Poppy. Huh? Does that mean money?
I don't know. I haven't heard that. Maybe a East Coast thing, but I haven't heard that one before.
Okay, enough of that talk. 10 minutes in already, 11 minutes, and we haven't got onto the game.
I would just like to say one thing. People all talk about remember the fallen. Remember the ones who are still here. People like to celebrate people who are not here. It's the people who are here trying to get their day in, trying to be positive, who need the help. The guys that unfortunately have passed, and they're at peace, whether it be in heaven, hell, or whatever. But remember the people that are here, because we're the ones that need it. Anyway, hail.
Okay. So back to reality. That is the thumbnail. And it's kind of, well, I guess we had a bit of a reality check in Europe, didn't we? Even though Saint Martin had returned to do no wrong. And the reality is we have to focus pretty much on the league. So this is our lot. And now we face off, thanks to the mustachioed one in the middle of the screen. This is really our lot. We should concentrate on the likes of matches against Kilmarnock. Because, that's where we're most likely to get any joy. Forget Europe. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I could, I would just bin the rest of the Europa League from now on. I can't be arsed with it. Any differing views there?
No, totally agree.
Well, I said that about 2 weeks ago, actually, even before the Michelin game. I've got no appetite for it. Once we got knocked out of the Champions League, it was clear that we don't have a squad for the league. Never mind to be fighting on multiple fronts, including a European campaign. So, yeah, I think if we did something. The problem is, though, the worse we do in Europe, the harder it's going to be in future years to get into the Champions League. So
the coefficient as a result of this season is going to be absolutely hopeless.
Yeah, I know, and it's you're given to wondering how many years it's going to be before we ever play Champions League football again, and that's the most depressing thing about the whole European thing. And you're right, it's probably best not to think about it and just try and concentrate on the league, which is going to be hard enough.
Mahesh here. Celtic have almost 3 times the wage bill of Michelin. Shakespeare was wrong. Something's rotten in the state of Celtic, not Denmark. Good to see Mahesh finally coming on board. He's previously been very much of the opinion that Celtic's brilliantly run. So that's interesting.
Is that a bit of Hamlet he's quoting there, is it?
If something's rotten in the state of Denmark. Indeed, Brian, you're such a scholar. All right, give me your thoughts on this then, Brian. What were you surprised by?
Surprised by Simpson Pussy at right back. Simpson Pussy, sorry. Simpson Pussy. I was surprised at JSP at right back, and then in my head I was thinking maybe he's going 3-5-2, but surprised to see him, and to be fair, he had a decent enough game. Other than that, no real kind of surprise there. Well, glad to see Tate back in again. I know Engels was struggling with injury, a bit of a hamstring strain, but no, happy enough with the team.
Stephen, anyone else to pick out there?
Yeah, I think it was obviously a big surprise to see Simpson Pusey at right back. Who knew he even was a right back? I didn't even know he could play there. But yeah, it's pretty surprising to see him there, and he's obviously got in there in front of Ralston. But I think a lot of the rest of the team, it was reflective of the fact we just had a really tough game on Thursday night, and it's squad rotation where we can do it, and it was good to see McCowan getting a start. I think he's played well off the bench recently, so he deserved his start there. I'm not 100% convinced that Hatate's did anything to get back in the team, but again, I think it's either Engels or him, because they're the only two players we really have who've got a bit of creative spark in them. So, and as Brian says, with Engels kind of struggling with injury a bit, that was the obvious move. So, not surprising given the tough game on Thursday night.
All right, let's get on with the action then. First thing that happened was, the first chance that fell to Maeda. He put this over the bar. Obviously, we use stills just to stimulate the conversation. It's not to dissect every single moment. But, yeah, this was the first one. And then Kenny off the posts. Kenny came in for a lot of praise. He started the game brightly. He's I suppose the conclusions we're all going to come to, unless you want to correct me, is that Kenny's looking decent and he'll do for now, and at least he's getting a few goals, and that's grand. But if we think he's the answer to all our prayers, we've got another think coming, as the expression correctly is. People say you got another thing coming. It's not that. It's like if you think such and such, you've got another think coming. Did you know that?
Do you know what, Gav? You're an awful arsehole at times. See, if somebody said that to you, if somebody could come out with that at a party, you would stick a nut on them.
All right, then. Let's get back to the football. Let's hide in the safety of the football instead of my fascinating little vignettes. Right. Tonekti plays an intricate through ball for Hatate here. He runs onto it, cuts it back for Kenny. Let's talk about Kenny, Stephen.
Yeah, good. Another decent performance from him. And I think I mentioned last week I was quite scary on him in the past. I didn't see him having any future at Celtic, but he's all we've got at the moment. So we don't really have any choice. So he's been thrown into the deep end, and he's doing all right. I think he seems to he's got a bit of pace about him. He's got a bit of physicality about him as well. He's not bad in the air, and I think if he continues to develop, then he might turn into a decent striker. I think he saw on Thursday night, though. I don't know if we'll talk about that game later, but his limitations when you step up a level, and unfortunately, that's what we need to do when you're a Celtic striker. You've got to be able to step up a level when required. But yeah, good performance from him again. And the disappointment was that Osmond looks to be out of the picture for a good while now. So the two of them together were both looking pretty good, and as if they had a bit in the locker. So disappointing that he's not coming off the bench, and then we're back to Shin Yamada again.
Yeah. And when he comes on and lights the world up, you're going to be surprised too, and you're going to have to eat your words, Stephen.
I will. I'm perfectly willing to admit when I'm wrong.
In
on the rare occasions.
And Yamada, those are going to very rare. Our hopes could rest on those two club signings that don't deserve a look in, other than playing with the B team. Brian, bit of a scramble after good work by Tonekti down the left. Mind this moment.
This one Dyson skied it from
the yard. I
don't
think this even got to Dyson. Or maybe it was in the same passage of play that it worked its way back. Yeah. Moments later, Tonekti has a shot. And then Kenny keeps it alive by challenging the keeper for it. And look at this. Look at this. I mean, stills, you can't judge on a still, but for crying out loud, look at that one. Look at that.
He doesn't look happy.
Nah,
Anyone?
he doesn't.
Did you just notice that he looks very? Even when he scored his goal, he didn't look. Just
he missed a lot of chances actually, or some really big ones. And this was
that one there. That was the commentators like to use the term he couldn't sort his legs out, whatever that means. But usually it's quite easy. Usually you sort your legs out. One of them's generally next to the other one. But that was a pretty poor. It was so. As that still shows there, you think he could have blown the ball across the line from there. But somehow contrived to miss from there was really quite something.
Yeah, I mean, stills don't tell the full story, but that is pure comedy. The thought of he didn't score from this. And you can tell the ball's not travelling left to right or anything at any pace. Yeah. So, it's just unbelievable. That's an interesting stat there from Mahesh.
7 shots of goal.
Kyogo-type numbers. All right, so that was that moment. And then this is almost an assist for Kilmarnock. A beautiful game, is alive and well, Brian.
Yeah, big long ball down. Is that game? Jim Kai, is that his name? The goalkeeper. I think he's the reserve. We think we've got our goalkeeper, one of our goalies on loan to them. So this is his first time in. Like hoof up the park, and then is that Brown? Was it not John Brown? Stephen Brown, the Irish guy.
I'm not sure who it was who got in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So off the bar, just shows you, we should have been 2-0 up and out of sight, and potentially could have been 1 each. But Lady Luck was on our side again. Off the bar. Thank you.
Yeah. And then they had another shot, didn't they, Stephen? Where Schmeichel, who's come in for a bit of criticism recently, was quite good. It was deflected off of your favourite defender.
Skillsy. Our man Skillsy getting the put in there where it counted and almost diverting it into his own net. Good save. Good save from Schmeichel. Obviously, it took a late change of direction and he had to adjust his position quite dramatically, but a good save. He has been playing well, Schmeichel. Last couple of games. I don't think you can attribute no blame to him for the disaster in Midtjylland. And he had a good game against Der Hun in the semi-final last week. So he has responded well to criticism.
Okay, so that was it at half-time. The score was 1-0, right, at half-time? Wasn't it?
1-0, yeah.
Yep.
I've seen one goal. And as you say, I mean, it's just a feature of Celtic, isn't it? That, you could have had a hatful, throughout the game. You just are very wasteful. And probably nobody more so in this game than Maeda. This was a Luke McCann corner. And he's kind of got a free header there. You kind of hope he would have done better, but harmlessly over in that moment. And then KT has a swing at one, Brian.
He just
back the years.
He loves scoring against Kilmarnock, doesn't he? And to quote our Paul, that was a real thunder bastard. What a goal!
I don't think it was a thunder bastard. No, come on. What's the definition of a thunder bastard?
An absolute.
What are the elements?
An absolute peach of a goal. An absolute. I don't know. Did maybe it's not a thunder bastard. Maybe it's just a beautiful half volley, but just unreal, and it meant so much to him, the celebration. And 50 minutes, 2-0 up, you'd like to think the game was done, and it took a bit of pressure off the team. So I was delighted for KT to get the goal, and it was an absolute
Monty's right. It was more of a daisy cutter than a thunder bastard. I think the elements of a thunder bastard, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, it has to be a shot of significant power, and I've heard somebody else saying that it should be still rising when it hits the back of the net or the roof of the net, and preferably in the corner.
I know we're all gentlemen of a certain vintage here, and if you remember do you remember a comic back in the 70s and 80s called The Hotspur?
The Hotspur, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And there was a character in that called Hot Shot Hamish. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
You might know it. And it was a football story, and Hot Shot Hamish could kick the ball so hard that it lifted the goals. out of the foundations, and the keeper was cowering away in the corner, and it destroyed the goals basically, and they hit it that hard. Now, that's a thunder bastard. That's the definition of it. If it's got the potential, to lift the goals out the foundations and actually bust the net, then it's a thunder bastard. So I don't think the one from KT qualifies for that. But it was a very, very good shot, very accurate, and then that's again, as I think I mentioned last week as well. We're seeing cameos from KT, like he's crossed for Osmond in the cup semi-final, and then this goal. And as Brian says, he loves a goal against Kilmarnock. He scored one from about 35 yards out a few years back during his first spell at Celtic. So he loves a long ranger against them. And that was great. That was a great goal, really accurate. And the keeper was never saving it.
Indeed. And then you saw his response, snarling to the crowd. His response to social media complaints that he isn't the same player anymore is how I named this photograph. G-Doc is striking a similar note. To me, KT celebrates him saying, "Get it up, yous," for all the flack he was taken from the fans. You reckon that's the case, lads?
I don't think he was getting it up the fans. He's a Tim. He knows what the club's about, and he just, it's like one of us scored. He's a fan. He just, your emotions take the better of you. I don't think KT's gives a monkeys what people say about him. He's there for the club.
He's there for the club, sure, but I think it was a bit of a sort of an emotional release. Here you are saying, "I'm not the player I was." How's about that then? No, Steve?
I like that. I like that in a team. Bit of grit.
That's fine. It's fine. It's not a Negrin.
Oh, no, he's no fun.
He doesn't deserve to be sold at the first opportunity like Benjamin Negrin.
My take on it is he was over at the South Stand screaming, and that's where the director's box is. So he was screaming at Peter Law in support of the Celtic collective. So that's my take on it. There you go. Like, he was just happy he scored, and it was a release of emotion. He was happy he scored, and it was like, yes, I've just scored.
Yes,
that's
John Toyle. Yes, Pork Chop Express. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. That's what he was saying.
Did he do the knee slide? Because that's
no knee slide.
No.
Nah, he's not fit enough to do a knee slide. He'd probably do a hammy.
His knees might come off.
Oops, sick.
Well,
don't need to be losing him.
No, and we don't need to be losing these two smiling faces that we always see in the goal celebrations. Brilliant. There they were again, those two characters. I always put the call out. Does anybody know them? It'd be hilarious to have them on. They look like a right laugh, those two. And a pretty cold looking day. Everyone's wrapped up well. What's that hat he's got on? Does anyone recognise it?
It's the Green Bay Packers NFL.
Oh, aye. Well done, Stephen.
I thought my postman was a Celtic fan until I realised he was wearing Green Bay Packers hat. I was going, Raw Mail wouldn't be allowing him to do that. I was delighted, like. Then I realised it was Green Bay Packers. There we go.
Where is Green Bay?
Green Bay's then, is it in Wisconsin? In the US? I know that they're big rival. The Green Bay's, I think, big rivals are like Minnesota or Chicago or something around there. So it's round about the Great Lakes in America.
Okay. Now, okay. We're going to talk in a moment about well, why don't I do it, actually? We'll move over to Twitter and have a look at this incident, which I'd like to hear your take on. The booking for Dyson Maida is classic Don Robertson, refereeing what he thinks he's seen rather than reality. I don't know why that's not playing. Yeah, now this is the James Brown incident, which is somewhere around 70 minutes or 2-0. And I didn't. I only watched the highlights, and this wasn't shown in the highlights, of course. But then I saw it on Twitter. Maeda comes running across, makes absolutely no contact whatsoever, and then you can see the moment where he thinks, he
He should,
decides what he's going to do.
there should be
And
retrospective action on that. I mean, that's like that balloon Kyle Lafferty against Charlie McGrew at Grayskull. So, as a footballer, as a professional footballer, inverted commas, the guy needs just to be looked at. And what an absolute idiot to do something like that. And Robertson, I don't know what Masonic Lodge he's in, but I swear to God, it was a terrible, terrible referee and performance. And while we won 4-0, we should be pulling him up on that.
but that's a
just
clear and obvious error as well, isn't it? So
yeah.
Is it? Are you going to tell me that's something that VAR can't reverse or call him over and say, "Have a look at what happened here"? There's absolutely no contact from this angle. You can see, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can. I think they could have called him over and got him to have a look and see if that was a retrospective red card for the Kilmarnock player, because it was such a blatant act of simulation, which absolutely conned the referee. So he might at least have had a look at that. Now, I don't think they can rescind yellow cards, so I don't think that was an option anyway. But I think they should be. They certainly can revisit the match review committee can certainly revisit it and take action against the guy who clearly dived, and it was embarrassing. But I mean, the referees doesn't get any benefit of the doubt there because it was so clearly a dive. I don't think whatever angle he was looking at it from, if he hasn't seen that that's a dive, then you have to wonder, as you say, Gav, if he's refereed what he thinks he saw. Rather, maybe he was looking in the other direction and kind of saw it out the side of his eye or something like that, because it was really, really farcical decision. So you'd like to see that being part of Willie Collum's monthly roundup, where he, admits to all the decisions he got wrong. Though, although the fact that in the great scheme of things, it probably doesn't make any difference, then it probably won't.
There may be special circumstances. Okay, well, look, we like to be fair-minded on this show, and as Monty's also pointing out, what about this? Can we not say all the same things that we just said about James Brown, about Anthony Ralston? He dived. There was no contact. He's trying to con the referee.
Maybe he's just turning around going, well, if this referee's so bad, I might as well have a go myself, because you obviously can't see it. I'm all for doing a bit of cheating if it's in our favour, but no.
Were you embarrassed by this, Stephen?
It's not quite the same scenario, is it though? Because the other player didn't get booked. The other player didn't get booked, so the decision didn't go in Ralston's favour. Now, if Celtic had been awarded a penalty, and the other guy had been booked,
you're talking about the outcome rather than the act.
You could complain the two. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, if he dived and there's no contact there, then he should have got a yellow card.
I was embarrassed by that. I was like, "Oh, what are you doing, Ralston? For Christ's sake!" I mean, in a way, I think James Brown's one was worse because it looks like he's really trying to get his fellow professional sent off by making it look like it was a horror challenge or whatever. But I was really embarrassed by Ralston there. As other people were. Pete McGee, no place for that in our team.
Just look at the Porto Seville final.
They all do it, but come on, Brian. When they go low,
listen, we need to learn the dark arts and give ourselves an even playing field, because everyone else.
Well, then we can't complain about what's his name, James Brown.
It's all about winning.
Yeah, we can complain about it, because I have just explained recently about how the two incidents are different. So We can. You don't have to make every incident the same.
All right.
Thank you,
Well,
Stephen.
here is your cake. Here is your cake, Stephen. You can eat it. That's another annoying
Thanks.
thing I could say. Have you heard people say? Have you ever heard anyone saying the annoying thing about you can have your cake and eat it? Is also incorrect.
You can't
The
have your cake and eat it.
Well, you can. Every time you have your cake, you eat it, don't you? The expression apparently, and I'm sorry for pointing this out, is
Go on then,
you can't.
Mr. Interesting strikes again.
What was your man and
At the cocktail party? Well, Mr. McCutcheon,
Well,
you can't.
Mr. Logic, Mr. Logic, that's him. Remember Viz, Mr. Logic? Sorry, go ahead, Cal.
Apparently, the original expression is you can't eat your cake and have it, because once you've eaten it, it's gone. But you know, people want to be able to eat their cake and still have it. You get me?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No wonder you had to go all the way to Malaysia to find a wife.
and start a podcast to have some friends to talk to.
Sorry, that was a bit below the belt. Sorry.
Right, let's back to the game. Classic Arnie Engels pass here. Classic, wasn't it?
Into Dyson, isn't it?
Yeah, into Dyson, and of course Dyson runs on and finishes it. Far harder opportunity than he had previously.
Didn't have to think. Yeah, that's Dyson all over. If he has to think.
Absolutely beautiful ball, wasn't it? I mean, if Paul was here, he'd be waxing lyrical. So who wants to? Stephen, do you want to wax lyrical about this Arnie Engels pass and how nobody does this better?
Yeah, he's got that in his locker. I think the main sort of criticism aimed at Engels is he doesn't do it often enough, but he has done that on several occasions. And that was a magnificent pass. Took about 3 defenders out just with one through ball, and left Maida with a fairly easy chance. So it was a great pass, and I think Engels has been playing really well recently, and I'm delighted for him.
I just realised I'm not in the middle of my screen. You know the way this goes out. Oh, it's not going out on Instagram today, so it doesn't matter. Oh, that's a bit backroom chat there that nobody needed to hear. Yeah, so the Engels Boo Boys, what do they say to this, Brian?
To what?
To this pass.
The pass, I can't see it. All right, yeah. I'm not one of the Boo Boys. He's one of our assets. Great young player.
That's
long
what
may
they
it
say.
continue.
Jezebel
That's
coming
what the
in
Boo
there.
Boys are saying. Yeah.
Is Jezebel a boo boy or a boo girl, or is gender just an archaic construct?
I thought it was. Did that begin with a
He
J,
asked-
Jezebel?
You would need to ask Ken on Twitter.
What?
You'd say, Ken, what was your main criticism of Engels today, Ken? And sign everything off, Ken, because he hates Arnie Engels.
Yeah, he does. He does. So Maeda scored. That was nice. And then there was this moment, which we all heard Martin O'Neill saying, "Oh, he did really well to get the penalty." This was Yang trying to get on the good foot against James Brown. Brian, talk to me.
Bit of payback there. Yang was going down the left wing like a sex machine, and he ended up living in America after James Brown took him out. Terrible. Should have been on the pitch, you know what I mean? So if it wasn't for, thank you to Don Robertson for keeping Brown on the pitch for us to make that ridiculous tackle. But it looked to me like it was a professional foul, and is that not a straight red? I don't know the rules anymore. It's a goal scoring opportunity. He took him down. Is that not a red? Maybe I'm watching too many reruns of Match of the Day.
I don't think it was a red, but the most hilarious thing about it was after the ref awards the penalty, the guy, he tries to tell him it was outside the box.
I know, what an absolute fool. What a complete...
As if None of us have eyes that work, you know.
Outside the box.
There's a rugby tackle straight away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it? Was he expect the referee to go? Oh, was it? Oh, just James. I'm awful sorry.
Sorry,
you know,
my deepest
change that.
apologies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drop ball. Yeah, pointless.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Engels stepped up to the penalty and dispatched it quite nicely. He's well, that's another thing he's got in his game, isn't it? He's a good dead ball specialist. His corners had a couple of reasonably good free kicks recently, haven't quite resulted in goals. And he's as good a penalty taker as we've got, I think, isn't he, Brian?
Yeah.
Who's better?
Nobody. He's the main man.
I go as far as to say he's the best penalty taker we've had in years, because that's an area we've quite often struggled
That's
with.
right. Giacomakis.
The last, Giacomakis missed a few, and then Adam Ida looked as if he could take a penalty. Then he missed a few. Hatate's missed some important ones. McGregor missed a penalty in the shootout, the cup final last year. So, it's something we have struggled with, and Engels or Pengels, if you like, is very good at them. It's very good at them, and that was a really good penalty again. And as Monty says, Henrik did miss a few, some very important ones as well.
Yep. Okay, so game stats. 74.7% possession. People like to talk about, Martin O'Neill versus Brendan Rodgers, but those are still heavy possession stats, aren't they? I think that's more to do with the opposition than anything else. 21 shots to 3, 7 on target. It's just a kind of a regulation day at the office, wasn't it, Brian?
Yeah, well, if you're getting 7 on target and you're scoring 4, it sort of sums it up, really, Under Martin, we've looked more attack-minded and direct, and whilst I've really enjoyed him being here, and it's been a brilliant press conference. Every time Martin comes on, it's box office, but it's time to get Knutson in, I think.
Well, we'll come on to that conversation, as you know, but let's just round out the game here, talking about player stats. I don't know if you can see those, can you?
Yeah.
Probably too small. Let me pull them over here. Any of these you want to pull out, Stephen, and talk about? Marks out of 10?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I must confess at this point, I didn't see the whole game, being that it was a 3 o'clock in the morning kickoff. So I have watched extended highlights, and saw all the major incidents, but I'm not going to comment on the player ratings for the full game. So I didn't see enough of it. It was good to see Kieran Tierney getting 8 out of 10 though. So it's nice to see him building back in.
These things are always just one person's opinion, aren't they? Really,
Yeah.
Someone's job to write the player ratings. So, I mean, pinch of salt, really. But yeah, Engels, Tierney, Tenecti,
Trusty had a good game.
Maida, Hatate, they all apparently had a good game. Yeah, Liam Skills and Trusty.
Is anybody getting a wee bit frustrated with Tenecki? No.
With mispronouncing it like that, or the way he plays the game?
Tunecki, or what's two necktie. He just seems to be very predictable. I'm not getting on the kid's back, but could have been an opportunity for Balakwisha to come in. Tunecti.
It's not hard.
Yeah, it's certainly not. Certainly not at this time of day. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've maybe been a bit harsh on him. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would say.
Stephen.
I think he's doing quite well. I mean, definitely, I agree with you. His stats don't jump off the page in terms of goals and assists, but I think he can. You can see he's got a bit about him. I think he does have to work on his final ball. He has to work on his decision making. But at the moment, he's comfortably our best winger at the club. Now, I understand that's not a competitive field, but you know, he is there on merit, and I don't think there's any choice we have but to play him. And I think he's at the heart of most of the creative things that we do up front.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm very happy with him so far. No problem. And of course, as we were busy winning and picking up 3 points, Hearts drew, didn't they? Thanks to this guy who fired in a header against the Jambos. They finished 1-1, so they dropped another couple of points. So the table looks like this.
Oh, that's it. You're going old school there, Gav. You're going old school.
Well, we're back to teletext era.
Have you not seen that on the show before?
Do you remember what the Celtic page was, Stephen?
Yeah, the Celtic Club Call.
Or something. Celtic Club Call.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Remember phoning?
It was like 1-800-1967 was the number you called. Brilliant. It was £1 a minute. £1 to listen to some fucking inane garbage.
Some lies. Phone on the landline, my dad. Who was phoning? Fucking that wasn't me.
I don't think those were the kind of numbers you were calling that racked up the phone bill, Brian.
No, those kind of numbers didn't exist in my day, Gav.
What, the woman on the other end of the phone going, ooh.
All right, big lad.
I mean, how is that supposed to be enough for a person? To just have some faceless woman, some 50-year-old woman sitting on her sofa, pausing EastEnders to just say some crap down the phone to some.
I reckon you've got a big
one.
It's
so. I think it's all.
That's why you called just to imagine
it was all you had back in the day. No, you know what I mean? There was no internet, no access to the vast range of services that you have now, and. You know, when we were kids, we were just looking up the waste ground for a discarded scud book. You know, and if you found one of them, that was a highlight of your year.
The Argos catalogue was always good.
Argos
shower units, shower units, and that.
Sorry, I missed a trick there.
Pete McGee wants to know, what number do you ring to hear that woman going ooh? I'm sure they say more than ooh, but anyway. So this fella came on for his post-match interview and amazingly didn't complain about refereeing decisions or anything. He had very little to say. Stephen, you usually enjoy a good gurn from Herman Munster, or not Herman Munster.
Eddie.
Which Munster? Eddie Munster.
Yeah, he had a good old chin wag with Martin O'Neill at the end of the game. So obviously they've got a bit in common. So I don't know whether Martin was saying, you know, you better get back to the training ground, mate, because your team is shite. But you know, it was nice to hear him not trying to find anything controversial in the game.
Yeah, and then this man come on and sort of said, "If it is my last game, so be it." Do you think it's going to be, Brian?
I think we'll have him for another couple more games, and hopefully Knutson will come in after the Bodo Glimt Juventus game, because I think Strachan came out and said no one's going to be in place early December, and I'm hoping that. I mean, Knutson's getting paid $850,000 a year. He's been there for 5 years. Champions League. I mean, we can give him $3 million or $2 million or whatever it is, and just say, "Come on and bring your." Interestingly enough, there's 3 Bodo Glimt players out of contract in December, which would be right up Michael Nicholson's street if he was to.
A lot of noise going on somewhere.
Maybe my dogs are snoring on the bed there.
Stephen having a dinner party.
Yeah. I've taken a break from my dinner party on a Monday night.
Where you're hearing lots of interesting tales from some fascinating.
I'm writing down all these anecdotes I can tell. Did you know actually the phrase "have your cake and eat it"? It's not technically correct.
All right. Enough of this. Yeah, well, these are the Celtic manager odds, right? So Kjetil Knutsen, as you say, is quite high up there. This Wilfred Nancy is also in the running, and also Brian Barry Murphy. Don't know if you
Who the
saw that.
frick? Who the hell's that?
He is the son of a very famous GAA man who was brilliant at Gaelic football and hurling. Jimmy Barry Murphy. Isn't that his name? Do you not know? Do you recognise that name?
I'm not a.
And he's at Cardiff now. And they reckon he's doing good things, but he comes from the sort of Man City stable. So he might be another Poundland Pep, I don't know. But yeah, Knutsen, this is our boy Knutsen, whose name won't go away. Many people's favourite.
He has the experience. He knows how to navigate Europe. He's 57.
Mm-hmm.
He's modern in footballing terms, and I just don't want anyone like Robbie Keane or any of the Irish mafia coming in and getting it. We need to get the best person for the job. And Knutsen, I mean, if he doesn't, Aston Villa or Leeds or somebody will pick him up, and then he'd go to bigger and better things. I would be delighted if we can get him. Just make it happen, please.
Stephen, are you as sold on Knutsen, or could you be tempted by the likes of Wilfried Nancy? Backed as a great fit for Celtic, and fans would love his possession-based football.
Yeah, I think they remember possession-based football was one of the criticisms aimed at Brendan-Rodgers. So I'm not sure how that would be accepted and how that's any different to what we've just finished with. But I'm not. I think Knutsen would need his head examined to come to Celtic. To be quite honest with you, I know. I don't know. Are Ajax still looking for a manager? Because they sacked their manager at the weekend, so he would be far better to going to a team like that, where the structure is already in place. And if they don't have major, I think I made this point last week. If you don't have major structural change at Celtic, then there's no point in appointing a manager like Knutsen. And it would have to be a whole package, a whole raft of changes would have to come with them. But it's worth pointing out as well, though, that people talking about bringing players from Bodo with them, but there's nobody really who's left Bodo Glint and gone on to be a success at another club, which leads you to maybe believe it's all part of the package there about why they're successful. He's successful because he's working in a certain environment. And why, I understand he'd be earning an awful lot more money here than he earns at Bodo, but he would be putting his career on the line to come and work with the shambles that we have behind the scenes at the moment. So I can't see that at all.
Do you think it's more suitable for someone like Wilfred Nancy, coming from the MLS, who wants to get a toehold in Europe, that kind of guy? But he sounds like a risk. But he's available now because his Columbus Crew have been knocked out of whatever the thing it is that ends their season. So the timing sort of fits with this guy.
I don't know the first thing about him, but I've looked a bit on Twitter, and some of the North American CSCs have been talking about him, saying don't touch him with a barge pole. Because the standard in the MLS is just so bad, and anything what he's achieved has got to be put in that context. So, I don't know anything about him. I'm not gonna say I do, but it probably would fit the bill for the current board in that he's cheap, he's available, and he'd be very grateful for the opportunity, and he would work with whatever pitch they serve him up during a transfer window. So he's not gonna come in with a lot of demands. Knutsen, if they appointed him, he would come in and demand a lot of things and a lot of money to be spent, not necessarily on players, but on structures and systems behind the scenes. So I can't see that happening. I mean, you know what I think anyway, Gav. So I'm not I'm not going to bore everyone with going over that again.
Okay, George and Wilfred, says David Clarkson there. It's a reference for the kids, Brian. What's he getting at?
Yeah, Man About the House, and then the spin-off, George and Mildred. Quite a
George and Mildred.
loved that theme tune. Youth of Joyce, God rest her smoky soul.
She was like one of the first people that, you know,
She
she
was
was
on the-
famous in my mind for being dead, you know, as a kid. It's like,
And
oh,
she was
this woman's
also-
dead.
She was on the front cover of Ask by the Smiths. It's an Ask
Oh.
single. Youth
Very
of.
good.
There we go.
Shyness is nice, but shyness can stop you from doing all the things in life you'd like to.
Yeah. Spending warm summer days indoors, writing frightening verse to a buck-toothed girl in Luxembourg. Yes.
Has anyone pre-ordered or ordered the drums yet, or have they any interest in reading the drums
Oh,
from
yeah.
Mike Joyce? Yeah.
Can't wait.
You
Seems
see
a
him
lot.
doing the round, Stephen, promoting his book?
No, I haven't. I don't even know what that is.
He was
Oh,
a drummer
Mike
in the
Joyce,
Smiths.
the drummer from the Smiths.
Right, okay. Yeah,
He's
I
got
couldn't
a
have
book
told you
out.
that was his name.
Oh, really? But you're a
Is
big
Marco-
Smiths man.
Is Marco Royce?
Oh, was
or
a big-
Rosa? Is Marco Rosa on the bet in there, Gav? Because I know he's out of work at the minute.
Sudden change of subject there when we're deep
Sorry,
into
sorry.
I was going to say, he's not a drummer, is he?
He's
He's on tambourine. Well, we'll keep it with the Smiths, and then we'll go back to the list of people on the bookies odds. Yeah, so you're a big Smiths fan, but you not much interest beyond Morrissey Marr. Is what you're going to tell me, Stephen?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I saw the Smiths live in 1985 in what was basically a sports centre down in Irvine, the Magnum Centre, and anybody who was a child in the 1980s in the west of Scotland will know what the Magnum Centre was. So I saw the Smiths live there, but you know, I wouldn't have been. I wasn't so into them that I'd be able to tell you all the band members.
Mm-hmm. Well, our David from KL has sort of got connections with them, with the brother of Andy Rourke and people like
Phil,
that. You know?
Phil Rourke.
Yeah.
He was saying he had to actually phone Andy to organise a stag.
That's right. He organised Andy's stag.
Yeah.
Our David.
I always thought that Andy Rourke was so cool. You know, bass player, denim jacket, quiff, just cool guy. God rest his soul.
Mm-hmm. The road to Saltcoats. You're stirring a lot of memories there with your mention of the old Magnum Centre. Taking us right back.
Yeah. There was an ice rink there, and it was a bit of a haunt for a lot of people of my age on the weekend when we were too young to go to the pub.
And you would be hoping to what would be the expression, you know, to like have a wee snog. What words did you use for that?
A bit of winching.
Winching?
Winching. How do you get to that? That's industrial, you know, metal grinding. Maybe that's why.
That was
hard steel grinding.
That was the term for a passionate kiss back in my year. It was a winch.
I remember first hearing the term shifted. I shifted her last night, and I'm like, what?
Dubliners say that.
It means kissing. I was like, all right, sorry. It means something slightly different where I come from.
Winching up the close, says Pete McGee. Can't put all the comments up. Some of them are not ideal. Brian, to answer your question, here are the odds on the managers. Nancy Knudsen, O'Neill, 8-1. Barry Murphy, McKenna, Maloney, Postacoglu, Juarez, Martinez, Robbie Keane.
No, none of those. Apart from Martin or Knudsen. Take it the Brugge manager or Bruges managers.
Oh yeah, he's fallen away from this conversation anyway.
Yeah.
Fortunately. But like we have no idea who it's going to be. Do you think the club have any idea who it's going to be at this stage of the game, Stephen? Do you think, or are they still?
Yeah, I think they do.
Playing it
I
by
think they know
ear?
exactly who. I think they know exactly who it's going to be.
As the number one,
Yeah,
not the
it's
number
going to be
two.
Sean Maloney. It's going to be Sean Maloney.
Is Maloney not going to be the number two who comes in to one of
No,
these ones?
no. It'll be O'Neill and Maloney till the end of the season, and then it'll be Maloney from next year.
Here's Mahesh coming in with a bit of realism as well. MLS ranked 10th best league in the world. SPFL 32. So stop looking down your nose at the MLS, you guys. Hey?
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between looking at the SPFL as a whole and looking at Celtic. You know, but we've got higher aspirations than all the other teams in the SPFL. So although the MLS is probably a much higher standard of league, and I don't think anybody's arguing with that, but it's still not, for me anyway, somewhere we should be shopping for managers.
Brian, do you ever watch any MLS? I'm hoping you can fill in for a few seconds while I call.
I'll certainly fill in, but not MLS. But I remember years ago watching New York Cosmos with, was it Bobby Moore, Pele, and George Best in the one team. Cruyff was there, Stephen, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
that
was a cool. They had the coolest jerseys, didn't they? New York Cosmos.
They were green?
Fantastic. Yeah, it was green. It was white with a green trim around the sleeves, and they had a cracking little badge that was like a football with a sort of green and yellow swoosh round about it. So brilliant. It was great. It was a fantastic strip. They sold them again for a while. I think there was a bit of a resurgence a few years ago of the retro kits with New York Cosmos and Pele on the back. So
were they replaced by anybody, or did the team just fall?
Yeah, it's all New York Red Bull now, isn't it? Instead of New York Cosmos, and it's all very shit now. Well, compared to what I remember it as being very cool, but it's not. It doesn't seem. Although to be fair, the MLS gets a very big crowds these days, and they've got a massive TV deal. They've got a massive TV deal, I believe, with Apple. So there is a lot of money in the MLS, and they are spending more money than probably we are. But I don't. For me, it's just not the place we should be looking for a manager.
Well, let's close out this part of the chat with Mahesh's comment. Stephen, on to something. Maloney, a strong prospect. I'm sensing a bit of an enthusiasm differential, though, between the two people.
But did you see, he was the one, I don't know if you've spoken about it before, but at the extra time and penalties, no, not extra time, Martin, the game against the Mikey Mob, the extra time, Maloney was the one that was communicating with the team. And maybe he is the guy, and Martin could be the guy face, the figurehead, yeah.
Nobody... Okay. The best way I heard it summed up was Maloney's there to manage the team and O'Neill's there to manage the fans. And that's the way I think it's been set up.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's leave it there. Let us finish off with a few little pieces of social media coverage. Don't know if you saw this. Celta Vigo player Carl Starfelt was sidelined for about 2 months due to persistent sickness. And once they investigated, they discovered mold in his house.
Bloody hell.
And once that was dealt with, once he moved out, his health recovered. So,
is there something wrong with his eyesight as well?
Why did you say
that? I mean,
blind man on a blind.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Well, presumably that was hidden behind some furniture or something.
All right.
I mean, I doubt he was sleeping next to that. Couldn't work out why he was feeling poorly.
Man in the Holy Lands,
And surely Jacinta would have been round saying, "You clean your house up, mate."
Yeah.
See these slum landlords taking advantage of poor young kids.
I'm telling you.
Terrible.
2 months of feeling sick. Yeah, there you go. Oh, this was funny. Don't know if you saw this. This is
Was
the
this the new open at Poundland, is it?
no, this is the Rangers fans on the bus stopped so they could all get off and observe
Yeah.
the minute silence, even though
Dur,
it
dur,
wasn't
dur,
silence
dur.
at the side of the road. So
Absolutely.
the ridiculousness of a bus pulling over to do this, even their lot are embarrassed. But
Yeah.
the guy in the orange
Oh.
shirt does look a wee bit like me, I'm afraid to say.
No, he doesn't, Gav. No, he
Do you not
doesn't.
think? I looked
He
at
look-
that face and I thought,
I
oh,
think
that's a bit me.
He looks a bit like the guy on the left, who's also his dad, and his sister's on the right, who's also his wife. And then there's three guys just come off the Bonnie Blue bus there behind him. But
Yeah, even some of them look to be trying to hold in a laugh. And you would like to think they were trying to suppress their laughter at the absurdity of all that. And if anything, if any one scene sums up the absurdity or the collective madness that takes over the nation at this time of the year, then it should be that. Last year it was the guy doing the
what an idiot. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You do get a laugh, don't you? Though it does. It raises
I
your
feel
smile every
I
time
mean,
you
I
see
feel
that sort of thing.
intelligent. I feel intelligent. I remember my dad used to say to me, God rest him, when he watched EastEnders, and he goes, Jesus, I feel intelligent after watching it. But that's it. They're just absolute idiots,
Thought you were going to say you feel intelligent when you come on the pod.
Oh, definitely
Yeah.
not, Gav, with you in the house. I'm there for the comedy element, even, and the faux pas.
All right.
What's
Well,
Come
here's
on now, Brian. Come on now.
Oh yeah, I should say something
Thank you,
encouraging,
Steve.
but I want to move on to the last thing, social media here. I want to time this right so you can see this. This is a guy doing the sew, watch this. Squeamish people look away. Oh.
Oof.
See him hyperextending
Oh.
his knee there. He gets too much
Yeah.
height. Far too much height for the sew. Oh,
Jesus.
boy.
Oh, my God.
That's wild, isn't it?
6 months out there.
I mean, you've got to be careful of your celebrations. I played in a wee bit of a game at the weekend there, lads versus dads. We played against these 15-year-olds. And I've got to say, I was rolling back the years. Midfield maestro, 2 goals, 2 assists. And I kept it to the Lampard point at this guy. And then an Mbappe, hands under the oxters.
My favorite is
Favorite celebrations, lads?
Favourite
That's the kind of thing
celebration.
podcasters do. What's your favorite celebration?
Sultan's when he used to just do this.
Oh, yeah,
Love the
that's a good
Sultan
one.
one. Sultan's my favorite. Didn't like the Henrik tongue. I love seeing it. Like, I love seeing it, but it just
It's not nice seeing people's tongues. People's mouths are disgusting. Big wet
Yeah.
holes in their faces.
yeah.
Stephen, your favorite celebration?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the re-slide if it's done properly.
Oh.
If you, I think
Just saying
Adamida,
that to annoy me.
the dearly departed Adamida had almost perfected the knee slide when we got rid of him. So a good controlled knee slide is a thing of great beauty.
A controversial one for me is I loved Ian Wright scoring, and he did the chicken walk because he used to do Chicken Tonight advert and he just did the chicken walk. I thought it was quite funny when he scored for Celtic. But there we go.
Yeah, the Klinsmann dive was pretty iconic.
Klinsmann dive was immense. That was
You
that was
can't
the
bring
start.
that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how he won everyone over because everybody hated Klinsmann before he showed up, and then by the end he was just universally loved.
Loved him. He used to drive a Beetle, didn't he? He didn't really
That's
give a
one of the
monkey's
things
about.
that people liked about him. Yeah.
Jawed his fist in the air is a good one. Oh, he must have heard me.
I haven't checked out Hoops Abroad yet, Pork Chop. I just sent a message during the show when you put this comment up earlier. I sent a WhatsApp to Sean in the States to get him to ask him if he knows who the guy is because I forgot previously. All right, that'll do us. So that's the end of
Just
today's
just quickly before we go,
Yeah.
I met a couple of guys down in Manly earlier on today. I forgot to get their names, but it was two guys from Shettleston, and I was putting them onto the show, and they said they were going to tune in. So if you're watching, lads, this is a shout out for you. But I forgot to ask your name. But it was two guys from Shettleston down in Manly today.
That's a bit of a half-assed shout out, isn't it, Stephen?
That
Hello,
is, yeah.
those two
But it's
lads
better
whose
than
names I don't know.
it's better than a no-assed shout out, isn't it?
It is. All right, so that's today's show. Now it's an international break, and we're going to break with tradition for a couple of reasons. We're going to take a little break ourselves. We're going to take this Thursday off and then next week off, and we'll be back with the St Mirren review on Monday the 24th. So that's basically 2 weeks off. Happens to coincide with the international break and also me going away. But it's also been a tough old season, you know. It's been an annoying, hard season, hasn't it? And I think a wee breather would be good for all of the team here at the Celtic World, don't you? As soon as we go off air, we all start bitching and moaning at each other, don't we? Throwing insults around. So,
First I heard.
so I think it might be nice just to, you know.
This might be the
calm it
equivalent
down.
of a. This might be the equivalent of a Celtic World's COVID trip to Dubai.
Well,
Yeah.
at least Monty's
Neil
taking it
Lennon
well, you know.
with the pints by the pool.
Do you remember that? And then your man, fucking Shane Duffy.
Yeah.
Absolute goat. PTSD
so-
after that season.
Yeah, so we need to go away and recover from our injuries, and then we'll be back after the international break, raring to go with new songs and all that. I'm sorry, I know you need it, Monty. I know it's very important to you, but you know, it'll make it all the sweeter when we come back. You know what it's like. You stay off anything that you love for a short period, and then it's oh so sweet when you return to it, right, Stephen?
That's absolutely correct.
One for the diehards. Celtic B team play on Tuesday night. If anyone's interested in East Kilbride, so that would be one for the fans. I think it's on ScottishFootball.com on Green TV allegedly. So if anyone's missing their fill of the Celts.
Okay, well we'll go out with the Where's the Ambition Volume 2. There's a few new pictures we've added this time to the video, so eagle-eyed viewers, why don't you watch the video and tell us what the new ones are, so you can be having fun right up until the very end of this show. 1 minute 13 we're up to. That's a bit too long. Cheerio, everyone. See you in a couple of weeks. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, folks.
Instead of this settling for mediocre, imagine what we could be.